We have a really crucial pair of Game 2s tonight, but we're going to start our show with breaking news. Sandy Brondello.
Completely unexpected, the WNBA just dropped Sandy Brondello, the very coach who brought the Liberty their first championship. The company line, "We wish her the best." But the real story, whispers suggest it was linked to her public praise of Caitlin Clark. Yes, celebrating Clark could have really cost her the job. I mean, look, it's not too late to undo this error. Do you believe her praise for Caitlin Clark got Sandy Brondello canned, or was it just New York hitting the panic button? Okay, let's get into it, because this is no ordinary dismissal. This is the Liberty's most successful coach in history, gone in less than a year after delivering the very title that New York fans had been waiting on forever. And the way it happened, a quick statement. Zero warning. So let's back up. Sandy Brondello wasn't just another coach passing through New York. She was the person who took all those big money stars, Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu, and molded them into a cohesive championship winning unit. Before she came, New York was just a flashy team without a rudder. With her, they were genuine champions. That should earn you some time, no?
Out as head coach of the New York Liberty. In a statement released by the team, it says in part, quote, Sandy finishes her tenure in New York as the winningest coach in franchise history, and she took us to never seen before heights as the first head coach to lead the Liberty to a championship. They ended by saying, we wish Sandy the very best in the WNBA history, all time, to win a title with multiple franchises and her 40 playoff wins. They are the second most all time behind Cheryl Reeves.
Nope. The Liberty announced the news like it was minor. We thank Sandy for her contributions and wish her the best in her next chapter. That is just code for we're done, and we're not explaining why. But here is the key detail. She's boosted TV ratings, ticket sales, and jersey numbers. But in the WNBA's current political climate, complimenting Caitlin has grown contentious. Some players resent the attention she receives. Some coaches feel like acknowledging her diminishes their own stars. And Brondello, she refused to play that game. She gave Clark props publicly, which rubbed some the wrong way, especially in New York, where the Liberty brand is built around its superstar trio, Stewart, Jones, and Sabrina. They demand the story focus on them. They are not in Indiana, but Brondello spoke the unspoken truth. Caitlin Clark transformed the league. Right after that, boom, she is gone. Fans connected the dots immediately. Let's be real. Officially, the Liberty presented this as performance-related. They demanded a championship. And when the team faltered in the postseason, the front office felt a change was necessary. But if that were truly the motive, why mention in the press release that she was their most successful coach? Why feature her playoff wins? Why commend her leadership?
By the New York Liberty in shocking fashion. This is on ESPN. Breaking: New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello's contract will not be renewed for the 2026 season. The team announced the organization will begin the search for its next coach immediately. So we got Noelle Quinn gone. Sandy Brondello gone. I think the Indiana Fever need to take a look at this. I think, look, it's not too late to fix the mistake.
You don't praise someone like that if you're firing them for just wins and losses. You do that when you need to soften a blow that's for another reason. And that other reason was her remarks on Caitlin. Several insiders claim Brondello's praise was not well received by Liberty ownership in a league where some stars have openly shown disdain for Clark. Your own head coach praising her effect was viewed as a betrayal. It's absurd, but that is the petty political game running through the league today. Consider the context. Earlier this year, Brondello stated clearly that Clark was a generational talent who made everyone around her better. That's essentially declaring Clark as the new benchmark. And you know who disliked that? The Liberty stars who see themselves as the benchmark. Stewart didn't respond directly, but her silence was deafening, and New York's front office won't let its franchise stars play second fiddle. So yeah, the writing was on the wall. You can win a championship, Be the winningest coach, but if you compliment the wrong player at the wrong time, suddenly you're gone. It's not about the sport anymore. It is about politics, and that has fans enraged because Brondello didn't just win. She was a stabilizing force. She added credibility to a team that was once pure chaos. She managed egos, media scrutiny, and immense expectations. Most teams would die for a coach like her, but the Liberty cast her off like old news for not sticking to the narrative. The WNBA says it wants to expand the game. Well, guess what? Caitlin Clark is that expansion. The data doesn't lie. The ratings, the crowds, the media coverage, all of it explodes when Clark's name is involved. To pretend it doesn't is delusional. Brondello merely stated a fact, but instead of welcoming it, the league and its teams treat praising Clark like treason. That weakness just cost New York its greatest coach. Now let's discuss legacy. Brondello did not only win in New York.
Sandy Brondello is out on the market. We got a shark out on the market. This is wild news. Sandy Brondello has been fired.
Yeah, you never want to see a player get injured, and a player like Caitlin coming back has had a few injuries this year. She's a great player. Would have been good for our craft this year, but hopefully we'll get to see her after post All-Star, get to play them again. As for the All-Star, I'm excited to get to know her a little bit. I think that's the part of the All-Star, is going to coach players that you haven't coached before and get them to know them a little bit and enjoy the whole celebration.
She won in Phoenix, too. She's just one of 2 coaches in WNBA history to win championships with 2 different franchises. Her 40 postseason wins? Second most ever. You don't get there by accident. That is rare air. And still, she's pushed out the door over office politics. Fans have every reason to be shocked. This isn't just about one coach getting fired. It is about the WNBA delivering a clear message. Praise Clark too loudly, and you could be next. Keep the focus on our approved stars or deal with the fallout. It's a horrible image for a league that says it values fairness and wants to grow women's sports. Fans are calling it insecurity, and to be honest, they're right. And here's the craziest part. Becky Hammon, the Las Vegas Aces coach, basically said she despised the decision. She called Brondello a quality person and a quality coach. The translation: the Liberty made a huge mistake. When your rival coaches say you messed up, you know you did. Meanwhile, Liberty stars like Brianna Stewart were backing Brondello just before she was let go. That makes this even uglier. If your MVP caliber players say we support her and ownership fires her regardless, what does that say? It says this was not about basketball performance. It was about control. The fans aren't dumb. Social media erupted immediately with people putting it all together. The timing was just too perfect. Brondello compliments Caitlin, the Liberty exit the playoffs, and suddenly she's fired. If this were truly about winning and losing, why now? Why not let her go last year when the team fell short? Why do it right after she made pro-Clark statements? Precisely. The pieces fit, and it affects more than just New York. The entire league is paying attention. Coaches see, players see, and the message being sent is a bad one. If you stray from the accepted narrative, you could be out of a job. That doesn't encourage growth. That encourages fear. And in a league fighting for attention, fear is the last thing you need. Now let's look ahead. Brondello is far from done. She's too skilled, too respected. Seattle needs a coach. Expansion teams are coming and will need coaches. Don't be shocked if she lands a new gig fast. But New York, they've just made a mess. Their next hire is walking into a pressure cooker. Championship or bust. Don't praise the wrong athlete. Don't annoy ownership. And make no mistakes. That is not coaching. That's a trap. And as for Clark, she never asked for any of this. She's just out there playing ball, doing her thing, and setting records in her second pro season. Yet somehow her name gets pulled into dramas she had no part in creating. That is the real tragedy here. Instead of celebrating the reality that Clark has elevated the whole league, including helping Liberty ticket sales when Indiana came to town, the WNBA is making her a point of division, and Brondello is the latest casualty. The Liberty's official term was a mutual parting. Mutual is the term you use for a one-sided breakup. You want to sound less harsh. Sandy Brondello did not spend decades honing her craft, winning titles across the country, becoming an all-time winning coach, just to suddenly wake up and decide, you know what? I'm out. This was the team pulling the plug, and once again the timing is deeply questionable. The Liberty season had just ended, emotions were high, and rather than a measured off-season review, the front office fired the person who delivered everything they had been asking for. Why so soon? Why so quickly? Fans get it. It's about control. And praising Caitlin Clark, the one player who makes so many league veterans feel threatened, was the final straw.
New York Liberty just fired their head coach. People are confused as to why, because they won the championship last year. They made the playoffs this year. In sports, there's always a scapegoat when things aren't going the way that they wanted it to go. Clearly, in New York, the standard has been raised. As Coach Tibbs learned with the New York Knicks, making the playoffs does not guarantee that you are safe anymore. They have raised the standard. They're sending a message to the fans, to the team, saying, we don't want to just go to the playoffs. We need to go to the finals and we need to win. So if it's not the players on the court that are changing, it's got to be the coaching staff. So unfortunately, that did mean Coach Sandy.
Now, if you believe this is just a theory, just examine the pattern. Clark's name has been central to drama all season. Opponents have hip-checked her, taunted her, and whined about the media attention she gets. Rival coaches have made snide remarks about her celebrity. Even the referees are accused of having a harsher whistle for her. And amid all that, Brondello had the nerve to say something good. She called Clark a game changer. She gave her credit for bringing new fans to the sport. That was enough. Here's the irony. Brondello was right. The Indiana Fever went from being irrelevant to the most watched team in the WNBA. TV viewership smashed records, away games sold out, and jersey sales went through the roof. That was not because of the Liberty, the Aces, or any other team. It happened because the Caitlin Clark name has power. Brondello simply stated the obvious. But instead of praising her candor, the Liberty saw it as a betrayal. That is what makes this whole thing so sad. You'd imagine teams would want to get on the Caitlin Clark train, benefit from the publicity, and create momentum for the whole league. But no, too many in charge would rather protect their egos than welcome growth. And now New York seems petty for firing a coach over comments. Let's see how fans reacted on social media. The anger was immediate. Liberty fans were livid. Fever fans were stunned, and neutral fans found it shameful. Even retired players spoke up, saying Brondello earned better. And here's the thing, people weren't just upset she was let go. They were upset about the reason why. They saw past the official spin and made the connection to Clark. Once that story gained traction, the league's reputation suffered again, and reputation is key right now. The WNBA is vying for mainstream acceptance, fighting for TV coverage, and trying to sustain its momentum. But instead of building up the game, they are mired in political fights over who is allowed to be praised. That's just self-destruction. So what's next for the Liberty? A major question. You can't fire a champion coach without a strategy. Rumor is they are already scouting replacements, maybe looking at NBA assistants or a high-profile hire. But the issue remains. You can hire anyone you want, but you cannot undo what just occurred. Players see this. Coaches see this. The word is out. Success and loyalty are not valued here. Cross a line and you are gone. And don't forget the locker room impact. Brianna Stewart, Jonquel Jones, and Sabrina Ionescu were tight with Brondello. They had faith in her. If ownership felt firing her would fix the team culture, they might have just broken it instead. Because how can you tell your players to win a championship when you just canned the coach who got you one? It's illogical. Meanwhile, Brondello leaves with her reputation strong. She will find another job. Seattle has a vacancy. Expansion clubs are coming. Someone will give her the keys again, because great coaches don't stay jobless for long. In fact, don't be shocked if she returns to haunt the Liberty by defeating them in the postseason with a different team. That would be perfect karma. And on the subject of karma, let's address Caitlin Clark's part in all this. She didn't want this. She didn't plot to get Brondello fired, but her name has influence, and the league seems unable to manage it. Everything involving Clark is amplified. Every foul, every play, every comment. And rather than embrace it, too many are resisting it. That's how you get absurd outcomes like this, where a coach is fired for saying something positive. Here is the bottom line. Nobody in the league office wants to accept that Caitlin Clark is here to stay. She has already transformed the game, and this is just her second year. Ratings will climb, fans will come, kids will buy her jersey. You can fire coaches, you can promote narratives, you can try to shift the spotlight, but the Clark phenomenon is bigger than that. So firing Brondello doesn't end the Clark debate, it makes it louder, it makes it a scandal that eclipses everything else. Instead of discussing the Liberty's next steps, we're discussing how fragile the league appears when one nice comment about Clark causes a complete meltdown. That isn't strength, it's weakness. And that is why fans are so stunned, not just that Brondello is gone, but that the league showed its own insecurity along the way. It broadcasts to the world that even its top coaches are not safe if they don't follow the party line. And you know something? Fans don't admire that. They see right through the facade. Sandy Brondello delivered New York its first ever championship and was still let go, allegedly for praising Caitlin Clark. If that isn't the definition of insecurity, what is? The fans see the truth. Clark transformed the league, and no amount of political maneuvering can change that. Share your thoughts below, smash that like button if you're done with all the drama, and hit subscribe for more analysis.